you've grown so much since I first met you. I remember I went to the King of Prussia Mall and
Yep.
had you shaped up my beard for the very first time. And when I think I met you for the first time, you had about, I think it was like 10, no, maybe it was like 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, man, this guy has so many subscribers on YouTube, holy cow and stuff. And I was really excited to meet him. And now I'm looking at his wall here, and he has a plaque from YouTube that he passed 100,000 subscribers. And that was a while ago, because now you're at what, 140 or what's
About
that?
140, something
About
like that.
140?
Yeah.
And so it's like, man, it's secret to success. What is it?
Persistence. Just get up, show up, blow up. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. There is no other. That's the first thing to do. Just show up. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you wait for things to be perfect, I know people that have like production quality that is incredible, like cinematic quality videos, and they're or people that want to start a channel, but they want to get an editor, they want to get the right equipment. I'm like,
Yeah.
I've done everything with my phone, 100%.
Yes.
I've never even taken a video and uploaded it to my PC, ever.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
I do everything. I shoot, edit, and upload from the phone.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And he has 140,000 subscribers on YouTube doing that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And you said persistence, and that's the thing that I tell them all the time. They see me, and I'm trying to start something a little different here. Where recently on my personal Instagram, I've been taking screenshots of the time I wake up and posting it,
Nice.
and showing people when I'm getting up. And a lot of times now I'm beating the alarm. Like today, I got up at 4:45. My alarm was set for 4:30. But I woke up and I went downstairs, got some coffee, and started working on things.
Yeah.
And because I start work at 9:30 in the morning now, and I found that if I try staying up late and working on the show, I'm not as productive because I'm tired.
Yeah.
So I started getting up early in the morning, but it's that putting the consistent effort and work in. And I think you're the one that actually turned me on to Gary Vaynerchuk too. You talk about him.
Get up 2 hours early, stay up an hour late. You
Yeah.
get 3 hours in a day. There's 21 extra hours in a week that you thought you never had.
Yeah. And so it's that constant thing. And I get a lot of people that reach out to me and contact me saying, the thing about starting a podcast, what does it take? And I'm brutally honest with them. I tell them exactly what I do. And a lot of times it's crickets then. I don't hear from them again because it takes a lot of work.
I recently downloaded the app Marco Polo, and I have some friends. One guy, rather than texting each other and having a text group, we created a Marco Polo. It's like 3 guys. And the guy that introduced me to the app, he would, rather than texting me, he would just like to say, hey, what's going on today? Hope you have a good day, whatever. Just 2 dudes like encouraging each other. And today, I said, dude, I'm not even going to talk to you until you hit the floor and do 20 push-ups now. And I shut it off.
Nice.
Literally within 5 minutes of video, my phone dinged. I brought up Marco Polo, and there he was. He's like, 18, 19, 20. He's like, you son of a gun. I said, this is the highest and best use of social media. I mean, rather than, like taking pictures of your food and, just like crazy selfies, why not challenge each other? And so I made it very clear. I said, I am not talking to you again unless you do 20 push-ups.
Yeah. Wow.
So what a great use of social media.
Big time.
And then he said, you could actually make some money doing this, having a group of guys where you keep them accountable, because the money will make them be invested in the work, and you could follow their progress, make them accountable, shame them and shun them, which is good old-fashioned motivation. The Amish had it down.
Absolutely.
And comfort is a beautiful thing. Remember, Anthony Robbins talked about pain-pleasure principle. We avoid pain and we seek pleasure, and everything in life is pain, pleasure. Simple as that. You know what I mean? But because of that, we tend to shy away from hard things and move towards the easy things. We want the easy way out of a lot of things. And so I said, I'm not going to sit here like a girl and Marco Polo back and forth with a grown man unless it can be constructive and, that's like something my teenage kids would do. So I'm waiting for his challenge to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Accountability. I think we're at a point. I mean, social media in the grand scheme of time is very new. I think we're at a point in time where we're starting to identify and define what social media can be used for.
Yeah.
When it first came out, Facebook, when it first came out, like we're like, what is this? We post just going to bed, you know.
Yeah.
But now we're learning that we can actually use social media to motivate and inspire the people. And it all depends on what kind of person you are. But for me, I'm the kind of person, I've always been the kind of person that I always wanted to help and inspire the people.
Yeah.
And, you know, judging by the fact that you and I both went to the same college, I'm assuming you had the same inspirations in life. And
100%.
And that was, you know, when you were younger, and now here you are years later, and you're still doing the same thing.
100%.
And you found just different venues to do it through. And now you're doing conferences and stuff. I mean, what tell us about 21?
Yeah. Well, that conferences find me through the YouTube channel.
Okay.
So that's kind of like the gateway. And I like to say my YouTube channel is the world's largest home church. People, you know, one guy said to me, he was really a pastor. I said, I know I am. and I only came to that realization in the past year, because when I recommend something, people buy it. When I give advice about something, people do it.
Yeah.
And I get testimonials every day. Oh, I went carnivore for a month and lost 30 pounds thanks to you. You know, I'm drinking 16 ounces of water upon waking every day. Oh my gosh, everything works better. I feel hydrated. I don't have a morning crash. And I just like practical things like that.
Yeah.
And I have been kind of I guess you like a crash test dummy. I'm not afraid to test things out on myself.
Yeah.
I mean, the first time you go on YouTube and take off your shirt, all right,
Yeah.
and you're like jiggling, you're fat, you know what I mean, and then you know you got to be accountable.
Yeah.
6 months later, you know, I did like a shaving video, and I was in the shower. I set up the phone, and I was pretty ripped at the time.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Holy crap! 6 months ago you did not look like that." And they're like, and then guys were like, "Shoot, I'm half your age. Now I'm going to do it now." You know, so I do a lot of things kind of tongue in cheek. I like to say that a lot of my stuff is really satire and not sarcastic. There's a difference between sarcasm and satire. Satire is pure humor.
Yeah.
Sarcasm, I like to say sarcasm without license is condescension. When people are sarcastic with you, they're insulting you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whenever anyone is sarcastic, that means someone is taking a hit somewhere. Someone's hurting. Someone is being put down. So that's why I've eliminated sarcasm from my life, and I enjoy satire, which is just pure humor.
Yeah.
Smiles and laughter were created by God as a natural reaction to wholesome things that are funny. When people are laughing and smiling at people getting hurt, pranked, insulted, it basically has taken laughter, which was something that God meant for the good, and perverted it. And so I've made an active effort to bring satire into my channel. And I like to say make satire great again. And that's where it's at. And I've learned the art of the poker face, because there's sometimes I'll say things that are pretty hilarious, but I have a very straight face. And I know it'll trigger people.
Right.
And that's great, because YouTube rewards triggering. When people respond to you, YouTube says, wow, they're interacting with the content creator. So that kind of like, I get bounced up a couple notches and my videos get recommended across the platform.
Yeah.
I've gotten, as a man with unashamedly conservative traditional values, I've gotten banned from many sites. Many of my videos have been demonetized. As a result of that,
some of the things you say in the videos, I can see in today's culture how that could be demonetized because everything's hate speech anymore.
Yeah, everything is hate speech.
Everything.
Absolutely. So there is no free speech anywhere on any of the platforms. And with the depersoning, deplatforming, which is alive and well, that's the first thing. It's called cancel culture.
Yes.
When you can eliminate a person, to me, that's the beginning of mass execution.
Yeah.
In communist countries, they silence people. Think about this. In medieval times, they would pull people's tongues out. Who did they do that to? Truth tellers. They only pull the tongues out of truth tellers.
Right.
People who lie, just it's free flowing, and brave is the man, honorable and virtuous is the man who speaks the truth unashamedly. That's what I like to say.
Yeah, they even China, I don't know when this was, but I just heard that they had given 100 days where the people could speak out against the government if they wanted to speak their mind. After that 100 days, they arrested those people. And so it's like
it's like, yeah, it's kind of like the communist version of the purge.
It's we're entering into touchy waters with social media and stuff. And I actually this past week have been talking a lot about Facebook, and I started doing a deep dive into the origins and how it started with Zuckerberg, and there is some sketchy stuff with it, and it's very, and obviously I'm conspiratorial minded and stuff, but not in the negative sense that they want you to think, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. I literally look at a conspiracy theorist as somebody who theorizes how things conspired. I want to look at things and gather information and make a decision for myself as to how I think it unfolded. Epstein's nobody believes that he killed himself, and he's.
Oh, by the way, we are broadcasting to 140,000 people live on YouTube.
Oh,
and I just want to say that Epstein did not kill himself.
Right. I don't even know it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm looking into it. I'm having an interview coming up on December 17th that me and this guy, Charlie Robinson, are going to be sitting down and talking about all the details that are involved with this. And not just with him, but the people surrounding him, their background. And even with like the Google and the censorship and stuff, I'm actually in the middle of talking. I don't know if you know who Zach Voorhees is.
No.
Well, Google knows, or YouTube knows. But I'm going to be interviewing him and stuff. So it's one of those things where we're living in a culture, in a society where you have to make a decision. Are you going to say and stand up for what is right, or are you going to cower to the pressure of being silenced? Right. And I don't know how I got on that topic. I just talked though.
That's the beauty of podcasting, is that it's kind of a free flow. You go down a rabbit hole and you never know where it's going to take it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of presenting information not as solid truth. I'll say something like, okay, in the news today, Epstein killed himself, or did he? And that leaves just enough doubt in people, rather than coming across as a crazy conspiracy theorist, which I am a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not crazy.
Right. Thank you. And that's the thing. I just make my own decisions on things, and because I do that, I'm called conspiracy theorist, and it's all right.
As if it's an insult.
Yeah. It's like I just try. That's what a detective does. They just look at the information. So. But yeah, I think what you have done throughout the grand scheme of time and stuff, for me personally, has really allowed these people that are watching the ability to have exposure to alternate ways of thinking, and that's what I promote. Obviously with my podcast we talk about paranormal stuff mostly, and then conspiratorial stuff. But coming from the background that I come from, I am a Christian, and so I have certain moral values, but also spiritual thoughts on things, and I bring a different twist to things, because I tell people because I often tell people that I'm a paranormal podcaster and I'm a Christian, and they're like, well, are you supposed to be doing that? And I'm like, look at the Bible. I mean, Moses battled with sorcerers in front of Pharaoh. There's floating hands that write on the wall that nobody can read. I mean, there's a lot of things in there that relate to this community.
Of course. And
that's why I enjoy what I do. And I wanted to tell you, though, one of the cool things that you did for me is that the way you run your stuff, it allowed me to see that it's okay to step outside the box of what you're already doing.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I was watching you, when I first found you, you were on YouTube just doing a lot of beard stuff. And when you started transitioning away from a lot of that stuff, especially when you cut your beard off, I was like, what's he gonna do now? I was like, he's committing suicide. And then you grew 10 times more. And it's
I lost the day that I did the broadcast, when I shaved the beard. And for your viewers, I had a beard down to my belt buckle.
Sultan of Silver, that's what they call it.
It was massive. It was totally Gandalf. I lost 5,000 followers on the day that I cut my beard off. 5,000. But that month, I gained 15,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you switched it up, you threw out.
100%.
Wow. And you constantly do that. Talk about dieting. talk about the working out and stuff. Which, by the way, I saw you because I follow you closer on Instagram. It's a quicker way for me to consume content, and I saw what you were doing with the working out and stuff. And I showed my wife Lindsay, and I was like, "Look at him! Like he totally transformed his body."
100%.
And I told her, I said, "I want to go on a carnivore diet." And she's like, "Well, you're gonna have to make all the food." Then I was like, "All right, well, scratch that for now."
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's just really cool to see how not allowing yourself to be boxed into one thing can be beneficial. I mean, even with what I'm doing and stuff, I mean, when I first started out, it was just cryptids, and then I started doing paranormal. Now I'm down to doing beard oils and beard balm, and you just never know what I'm gonna do, because if I think it's a cool idea, I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. And you kind of laid that blueprint for me, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, my brother started a YouTube channel recently, and he was remodeling his house, ripping out a wall, and he found a stack of letters, 50-year-old letters, and they were love letters.
Really?
And he created the YouTube channel and started reading these love letters from this woman, Mary Pat or something like that, I forget what her name is, to Sweet Ramon. And it's a whole series of letters. Anyways, he does research and he finds her.
No.
She's like in Alabama or something, or Mississippi. 50-year-old letters. She's in her 70s now. They had a child. Sweet Ramon disappeared. He was on the run from the law. And it is an incredible movie. And he ends up talking with her, and she still wears his wedding band.
Really?
Yeah. And Ramon Jr. is now a grown man, and just some really trippy stuff. And my brother is not one who typically would have this kind of information, would be talking about this kind of stuff. But he said, what am I going to do? Carnivore, weightlifting, shaving your head, beard trims. A million people are doing that stuff. He says, I want to do something different. And he did this, and it's starting to take off.
I imagine. I mean, for me, on the podcasting and things, I picture the audio of things, and I just imagine like him just sitting there in front of the camera and reading these letters, and like there's an emotional tie to it. Imagine like I don't know how he's producing it, but imagine he put like just soft music playing in the background and just I mean, it really there's a cinematic sense to what you just said.
Yeah, it's been very interesting, and it's not like him, because I would expect other content, but it really his channel he just started it like a month ago, so it's starting to take off.
How many letters are there?
I forget. There was a stack
Jeez.
of letters in the wall when he was doing demolition in his house. They were literally
in the wall.
In the wall.
This is a Tom Hanks movie waiting to happen.
Unbelievable. It's message in a bottle stuff.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is how we had phone conversations with this woman. And he says, well, what should I do next? I said, invite other people to send you their love letters. So he started a YouTube, he just got a Gmail called realLifeLetters@gmail.com, and people are sending him old letters, and that's like his thing now.
That's amazing.
Created a niche for himself.
And nobody's doing that.
No one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's really cool. I'm gonna have to look it up. What's the channel called again?
His channel is T21 Surfer, because he's a surfer.
T21 Surfer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely interesting.
Definitely.
Sorry, so let's talk to my audience right here. And you have a podcast called Confessionals.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
It is a podcast where I interview people on their personal paranormal experiences. And when I say paranormal, I mean very loose term paranormal, where we can talk about hauntings, UFOs, aliens, Bigfoot, any kind of fringe topics, time travel, Mandela effect, things like that.
Yeah.
And the main thing though is that I try to keep it as people's personal experiences. A lot of times I have people email me, can you have so-and-so on the show, some researcher? My show's not about research, it's about people's personal stories with encountering such things. And it's grown a lot. I started it January 19th, 2017. And this past July was my biggest month ever. I had 750,000 downloads on the show.
That's no joke.
And And so we made some transitions in the back end of things with who's broadcasting my show, or how my show is being broadcast through what company. And with the changes and stuff, hopefully, I'm hoping within the next, maybe a year or two, I can do this as a full-time income.
And that is the goal.
Oh,
to be able to leave the quote-unquote day job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm a truck driver right now. In fact, every morning I drive by George's windows right here in my tractor trailer, like right there. And, it's a constant reminder for me, because I know where you're at, and I know why you're here, and what you do allows you to do, the freedom. But the show, if you're interested in the paranormal, if you like ghost shows and watching that stuff, my show is specifically those kind of people's personal stories. And it's not like a 15-minute show where we just do highlights. We sit down and we have a conversation like you're sitting at a table just talking. And it really kind of makes the audience feel like they're sitting there with us, having that conversation. And the audio quality's, I tell everybody, my audio quality is spot on. That before I was podcasting, I was an audio producer, so I know what I'm doing with audio, so you're not going to get your ears hurt. But yeah, the confessionalspodcast.com, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Cool.
Not a whole lot on YouTube, but you can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, anywhere really. Just look us up. Google me.
Yes. The confessionalspodcast.com.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely, man.
All right.
So what are we doing today? Beard trim?
Yeah, we're gonna trim it up. I'm not concerned about any kind of length right now. I've had the beard trimmed real short for a while, and
you've had it at its longest. How long was it?
It was like down here.
Yeah, I remember. It was pretty long.
And this length just started happening, where I'm gonna start growing it out again. But when I originally started doing it, I didn't have a plan, and so. I remember the one day I went to Western Pennsylvania. I went to a studio where they wanted to do an interview with me on camera, and so I wanted my facial hair to look a certain way. So I did the sin when it comes to trying to grow a longer beard is I trimmed it shorter on the sides, and I left this part longer.
Yeah.
And I think you can probably see it on the sides here where this is actually longer than up here because I did that. And then I started letting it grow, and so it's not growing properly, I don't think, but. So my main thing is cleaning it up so it looks good for family pictures today, and do whatever you gotta do to fix it so that I can grow a beard, months down the road.
What is the goal? Length goal?
Well, my wife says not this long, but I told her I can always shave it. So I think probably maybe to here.
Yeah.
We're looking at right now.
Okay. So if you were wearing a shirt and tie, just enough to cover the knot of the tie.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like life's a journey, so I don't know how long it'll last, but the goal is to grow it out again, especially since I have the beard oil and beard balm.
Yeah.
I want to have a beard now.
And what is the company? Give a shout out to the company.
Anointed AK. He's a listener of my show. Reached out to me and he's like, "Hey, I have a company. I'd love to do a collaboration." I said, "Send me some of your samples." I really didn't expect much. I was just like, I've sampled so many from other companies. And so I get the package, I let it sit for a few days. I open it up and I'm like, oh, his marketing's really good. And I open it up and I smell, I'm like, whoa! I was just so impressed. And so I reached out to him and I said, let's do it. And so he makes it, does the labeling. All I'm doing is saying, yeah, you can put my logo on it.
Yeah.
And we're off and running. So we're actually coming out with, we have Sasquatch, Dogman, and Spectre scent, and we're coming out with a Yeti scent that smells like Christmas, Black Friday, or not Black Friday, Cyber Monday.
Okay.
So yeah.
Cool. Interesting. I know I'm wearing Fireside today.
Nice.
The oil and the balm, which I like.
Fireside.
Yeah.
Great. Fireside.
Yeah.
So.
It's I like it. It's literally it's as if I went to a bonfire. And came home that night, and I'm smelling the bonfire.
Nice.
On my beard. So it has that smoky, piney kind of cypress, cedar-ish kind of thing. I don't know exactly what the oils are in it, but it's as if I went to a bonfire, and the smoke went in my face, and now I'm smelling it now.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good
I
stuff.
don't have any on me right now. I figured to come in as a canvas for you.
Yeah. Excellent.
But yeah. What time is it? Do you know?
9:30.
Okay, we're good.
Yep.
I had pictures at 11. I was like, oh no, how long are we
Okay,
going?
cool.
So-
I have a guy coming in at 10, so this is
Okay,
good.
let's go.
All right, so if you want to take this off so I can,
Okay.
I got a little story about that. I had a guy who was wearing a hoodie, and I was working at a salon at the time where I was out in the main salon area with like 8 women. It was me and 8 women.
Okay.
And I said, oh, could you take off your hooded sweatshirt? And the guy took it off, but he didn't have a shirt on underneath. He sat in the chair, got a haircut and a beard trim with no shirt. All the women were like, whoa!
Hey, baby.
I'm telling you, it was funny. So, all right. Let's get the cape on you.
Okay.
Get that started.
Hairy chest, hairy back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah. Absolutely. Well, the guy was not like, he did not look like the statue of David. And it was like a hot summer day, and the hair was like sticking to him, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
It was too funny.
Yeah.
750,000 downloads.
Yeah, in July. It was my biggest month ever.
Oh my God, that is no joke.
Yeah.
That is no joke.
So it's a good way to sell the show. I'm getting some guests that maybe wouldn't necessarily consider coming on any other time, you know?
Yeah.
Like I said, right now, I'm speaking with somebody who it's like, never would have thought he'd consider, and he said he'd love to come on. Just like,
Right.
wow. So we'll see what happens.
I do have some truck drivers that watch this. As a matter of fact, 2 dudes that I Marco Polo with are truck drivers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, big rigs. So,
Yeah, that's me. Every Monday through Friday. I stay local though now. I just do Pottstown
and you're home.
every day.
Is that right?
Pottstown, Boyertown, Pippersville.
Sweet. And how's the child doing?
Oh man, amazing.
How old now?
He's gonna be 2 the 8th of next month.
Get the heck out of here.
Yeah, man.
For real?
Yeah. George gave Ben his first haircut.
I remember that. That was, you know, it's amazing. It's weird because I have a lot of young dads that come in and bring their kids, and I, you know, obviously I celebrate everyone's children with them and do the first haircut with a lot of people, a lot of, you know, a lot of the babies, and it's almost as if like I'm like Rip Van Winkle. It's like I woke up and the kids are now 5. I woke up and they're 10. And this right now, I just woke up and he's 2.
Yeah.
He was just born, it seemed like.
I know.
Wow.
Yep. Now me and the missus are talking, should we have another one? If we're gonna have another one, we should probably do it soon. So
Is she a stay-at-home mom or does she? Okay, cool.
yeah. She used to work at the college.
Yeah, she was like financial aid or something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But you know,
That's awesome that you can do that.
yeah, it takes a lot of sacrifices, you know.
Yeah.
But it's something that we both wanted, and we've said we wanted since before Ben was even born. Is, you know, her to kind of be the leader on raising him and stuff, and not daycare and stuff like that. Not that daycare is awful or anything, but it's just, you know, if she could do it, we feel that mom's better off raising him than, you know, the 20-year-old down the street.
Yeah, right.
So, man, looks better already.
Well, I've done 12,000 beards. I actually stopped counting.
Jeez.
You know, it's interesting when I do the math. I remember just like feeling really good that I did 10,000 beards, and then I just kept counting. When I got to 12,000, I just stopped.
Yeah.
So, I guess according to Malcolm Gladwell, that makes me an expert.
There you go.
So, you know, the whole 10,000 hour rule.
No. I know Malcolm.
Doing something for 10,000 hours makes you officially competent, a professional, and an expert in something.
Okay.
So think about what you've done for 10,000 hours. That's good and bad things. I mean, that could be like a bad habit. You became an expert at procrastinating, an expert at hitting the snooze alarm. You know what I mean? And write down the, you know, you make a list. Take a piece of paper, draw a line down the middle, and put, you know, positive and negative, or not so positive things. A list of things that you've done for 10,000 hours. Good and bad. You start to see where you've cultivated bad habits in your life and how you need to eliminate them.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's self-reflection is huge, and being honest with yourself. I mean, that's one thing that is a blessing with being a trucker is that I'm always by myself.
Mm-hmm. I can totally relate because I've always been kind of a sole proprietor doing what I'm doing here. And, I do miss the teamwork though. I miss the camaraderie. So you have to seek it out in other ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because what happens is, when you work by yourself too much, you end up becoming like the guy in The Shining. You know what I mean? It's like he's at the Overlook Hotel and just going crazy, being locked in there for the winter. And I think a lot of times sole proprietors, if they don't get out and have good old-fashioned fellowship, friendship, and other opinions in their life, it can have a detrimental effect.
For sure.
You know what I mean? There's
For sure.
there's pluses and minuses to being a lone ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the next total culture shock when you have to work with a team because you're not used to cooperating, you're used to having your own way. So it's wonderful.
Yeah.
One of the things I'll show your listeners, I'll show my listeners here, is I never attack a beard like this because if I bottom out, I take out a chunk that'll take 6 months to grow back. So that's why I start where there's no hair, I end where there's no hair, and if and I'm vertical with the blade, so if I bottom out, nothing happens. If I do this, then chunk comes out. The other thing is this, I do long, consistent strokes. So I start up here and I go all the way down. What I don't do is do this. Mm-hmm. And I see so many videos, famous beard product videos where people are like chipping away at the beard.
Yeah.
What if your beard was a piece of clay and you were doing that to it? Imagine what it would look
lumpy.
like. Exactly. I call it the Aztec beard. It has like these steps. And I don't want to do that. So like I said, I start where there's no hair, one single stroke, end where there's no hair. Now you have several colors.
Yes.
Most people think, when someone says, oh, I have black hair. No, you don't. You have 5 different shades in there. Most people who have black hair or brown hair, whatever, have 5 shades a little lighter or darker than what they think they do. Most people refer to their hair as, like a little kid coloring a picture of mommy and daddy. So the little kid will just draw like this brown helmet on daddy's head.
Yeah.
That's daddy's hair. It just looks like a brown helmet. When actually you have 5 or 6 different shades, which adds dimension. So when the light hits it different times of the day, natural light, artificial light, it adds dimension and interest to the beard. That's why I'm not a huge fan of people dyeing their beards. That's like a big thing now. People coloring their beards.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that at all.
Yeah, me neither. And I'm starting to get some whites up, you can see.
Yeah.
And my wife said, do you want to do something about that? I said, no, I'm fine. I'm
Well,
fine.
you have brown hair, you have red hair in there.
Yeah.
A couple blondes popping out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the longer it grows, the more you see the color.
Oh yeah.
My mom has Irish in her, so that's where the red comes from, even though I'm Puerto Rican, so.
One of the things I do is I hold up a contrasting towel. If I got guys who have white beards like me, I hold a black towel. This way I can see what your hair looks like. Look a little bit to the left, look a little bit to the right. Okay. Now, chin up, bring it down. And I'm going to take a look. I can only tell with contrast. So I'm always just doing this to see what the shape is. And then for people on YouTube, you can see the shape of the beard. And I will do that several times during the cut. All right, so now we're done with the vertical. Now let's just create the line. So the Confessionals will be 3 years old?
Yeah.
Real soon?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, 3 years. 181 episodes right now. Every Tuesday's a new show, publicly. And then we have member shows on Thursdays.
That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Is everything done from your home?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
We're gonna change that hopefully in the next year or so.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta get out of the house in my studio. It's getting too noisy and distracting.
Yeah. I have a friend who does a thing called the Morning Brew, and he has an organization called the Fraternity of Excellence, and it's where guys are keeping each other accountable, getting in shape, being solid men, the whole thing. And he had a studio, like, in his bedroom. You know, he's got kids and whatever, so the studio was set up in his bedroom, and then he felt weird because people would come over, like in-laws and stuff, you know, and see like a tripod and a camera in the bedroom, and they're like, what's going on in here? You know? And he said he just didn't want to explain it anymore to people who would walk by the bedroom, you know, and see a camera in there. So he had a shed, kind of like my shed at home, and created an office and a studio in the shed in his backyard. It has power going to it, and it's his studio.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
He did. It was one of those, it comes on a flatbed truck, they drop it off where you want it to, and then you gotta finish the inside or do whatever, and he put drywall and insulation and power in it. It's cool.
Yeah. I actually thought about doing something like that, but then I started thinking, if I'm gonna move out of the house, I want space. I want an office away from my recording equipment.
Oh yeah.
It's so annoying having to do clerical work with a mixing board in front of you.
Unbelievable. I know. Yeah, designated space is a beautiful thing. Now, do you want to go all the way down to the skin? What do you think?
What do you mean?
In other words, like you have, put your chin up just a little bit. Do you want me to clean this up?
Oh. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be itchy for a week then. That'll be the first thing. I'm trying to think. So they're going to be family pictures?
Yeah, we probably should clean it up, shouldn't we?
Yeah, I would. Because it'll grow out.
Yeah.
It'll grow out. Plus the fact your beard is long enough right now to kind of hide anything, and so yeah, I think it'll be better.
Shut the head up?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, put your head up. Perfect. So yeah, definitely text me the links. So what I will do is tonight, I'm going to put the links to your podcast and stuff, if people didn't already write it down. And this will be a video on my YouTube channel. So what I'm going to do is I'll put your links if people want to know more, if they have any great stories that they want to share, or be a guest on your show, or know had an experience, an abduction, or a sighting or something, or some kind of paranormal thing. Because I do believe that one aspect of content creation is that like attracts like, and being that I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist myself, I do believe that a lot of my followers and watchers are similar. They enjoy that kind of stuff. So I think there's a possibility, a very good probability that you're going to get some emails.
It's possible.
Definitely.
You're welcome.
Yep. The material will be there.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. All right, head up. And just check this. Chin up, chin down. So this is what I do. I put up a contrasting color towel like this. And that way people can see. All right, so now that I have the shape struck into it, what'll happen is I'm gonna kind of like bevel the edges now. So usually when I strike a shape into a beard uniformly all the way around, that shape will just start to descend. Rather than grow out, it's going to grow down. Because I always said people compliment long beards, not wide beards. No one ever would walk up to you and say, hey, nice wide beard you have there.
It's as wide as your shoulders, man. Love it.
Exactly. So now I just kind of like bevel the edges. And the reason why I sit on a stool in orbit like the moon is because you can't cut what you can't see. So I'm always in front of where the blades are moving. Like there's so many people that are like, they trim a beard and they're going like this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude.
You take a lot of risk there, man.
I'm telling you, that's why I'm just circling around you. And I do probably 90% of my work, haircuts and beard trims, and 100% of my shaves while sitting on a stool. You gotta have your work in front of you.
Is that something you learned from your dad? I know your dad still cut your hair.
Yeah, no, I felt like it was, I just like having my work in front of me, and it just worked. My dad would consider sitting on a stool to be lazy.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Different methods for different folks.
Absolutely. And he still cuts hair every day. He's probably cutting hair right now. He's in his mid-80s. One of the things I never do is I don't cut the hair. Most people's beards, at the bottom, like the back corners, the hair kind of grows back a little bit under the earlobe. What I don't do is take that sideburn line and go straight down.
Yeah.
I've always said, I mean, this is the testicles of the beard. Like, don't castrate your beard. I just think, and to me, when I look at a man who has like this beard that looks like it was put on with a Sharpie versus the guy who has that little bit that comes back, to me, that's what masculinizes the beard.
Yeah.
And when you take that off, it just, I don't want to say it feminizes it, but it feminizes it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I've done enough beards to, you know.
You give a lot of advice to young men too, which I like about what you do. It's really cool because there's a lot of guys out there that never have the male influence in their life to learn how to be. Because you really do have to learn how to be a man. You can't just turn 18 one day and know how it's done.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially if you're raised by a single mom.
Right.
You know, props out to single moms.
100%.
You know, that's cool. But a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man. He needs, whether it be a boyfriend or coaches, you know, mom's boyfriend, whatever, or mom's new husband or whatever, that boy needs the male influence. Absolutely. And it, you know, I'm not like all or nothing. It doesn't have to be, sometimes the father's not available by choice.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, but if you're a single mom, it's important that as the child, the boy grows up, that you put men in his life that can be an influence in, like you said, whether it's a coach or you know, some kind of mentorship.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's no surprise that one of the best-selling books of all time is 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. Yeah. Shout out to Michaela. How are you? She and I are going to collaborate. His daughter, she wants to collaborate on a video. We're going to do something revolving around carnivore.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
She's a follower of mine, and I was a fan of her dad. And
me too. I actually played her. So when we had that weekend of shootings not too long ago, I did like a 30-minute talk on my show. And before that, I had about 12 minutes of Jordan Peterson playing.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I mean, the guy just, it makes sense, and he says it in a way that everybody understands it.
Yep.
I mean, one of the things that I say is, there's lessons to be learned from a man that backs his car into a driveway.
Yeah, right.
And you just start picking things apart as to, and that's what he does with that book.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, make your bed, but it's not just like make your bed because I said so. There's reasons for it.
Mm-hmm. Have control of your domain from the beginning of your day in the simplest of areas, and I think that's super important. It kind of, responsibility grows. You don't all of a sudden get a ton of responsibility. You are given things incrementally, I believe, in life, and chin up just a little bit. Actually, go back to the headrest.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the Wall Magic Clip, one of my favorites, and then the Andis Slimline Pro, standard amongst stylists and barbers all over the world. The reason why I go up with this, because if I go down, then the moving blade, on these trimmers, a lot of people don't realize the top blade is stationary, doesn't move, and the bottom blade is the one that moves. Mm. So if I am putting that bottom blade against the skin, there is potential of literally cutting the skin. So what I do is I scoop up the beard where the stationary blade is against the skin. And it gets pretty close. Now, this is what I use. When I lined up my beard this week, I'm doing exactly to you what I did to my beard. And your black hair is more visible than my white hair, but in pictures, I mean, I can feel kind of like the bristly whiskers, but you can't see them in pictures. When my hair was black like yours, then obviously, I had that shadow underneath. But these Slimline Pros really bring it so close where everyone can be visible.
Did it bother you when your hair turned white?
Nope, it went white in 1 year.
No.
Yeah, 1 year. I looked at pictures of myself, and I could show you pictures of one year to the next, and it was a trip. My hair went gray, my beard turned white, and it was kind of a shock. Not in a bad way, and I had to kind of roll with it. I started coloring it a little bit, and then for me it just looked fake. I'd rather be authentic. And there's some people say, oh man, you should color your hair. I just wasn't into it. It was too much work. And when sunlight hits a man's hair versus a woman's hair, I think like man's hair is different. Our facial hair is different than our head hair. There's so many different textures, porosity, coarseness of the hair, and different hair receives color differently. So if a person's coloring their head hair, the color might absorb in quickly, but they use the same type of color on their beard, and they end up with like an orange color beard. I've seen that happen. So
yeah, we don't need that.
No. And then when the sunlight hits, it just really sunlight shows flaws in everything: skin, hair.
I can't tell you how excited I was when I found out you were local to me.
Yeah.
I figured out when you used to do those videos in your car.
Yeah.
I saw a sign.
Well, you recognize the roads.
I recognized the roads. I'm like, I think that's Philly area. And then I saw a Conchi sign. And I was like,
Yeah.
Holy crap. And that's when I started doing deep
Yep.
dives. I'm like, where is this guy at? I
Yeah,
gotta find him.
exactly. It's funny. A lot of people do recognize the landmarks. It's
Yeah.
pretty funny.
The school is unmistakable. It's not another road in the world. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
and nobody loves that road. Everybody hates it.
Somebody rear-ended me 2
No,
months ago.
are you serious?
Smacked into, like on the Conshohocken curve. Someone smacked into my bumper and jacked it up, and I was without a car for a week and a half, without a truck for a week and a half, and they put a new bumper on. What I wasn't crazy about, because I never had to take a vehicle to a body shop, is that you gotta fight for OEM equipment. You gotta fight for the original equipment. Otherwise, you'll get like a Chinese part, flimsy, like I have a Toyota Tacoma. The Toyota bumper is a solid bumper. The average bumper, replacement bumper that you buy on Amazon is actually flimsy. You could bend it with your hands.
Yeah.
And that, when I saw that, I had to like literally put my foot down and say, no.
Yeah, because what they're going to do is they're going to upcharge you on a cheap piece of crap.
Yep, exactly.
If you're going to be upcharged, rather be upcharged on something that's really solid and worth it.
Mm-hmm. So I saw what that game was about. Okay, head back up. Okay. I saw what that game was about right from the get.
George, how many people come from like out of state to see how you do their facial hair?
28 states and 7 countries.
Jeez. I'm telling you guys, he's world famous.
Consistently.
That's amazing.
You just never know who's going to walk in the door.
And you're right down the road from me.
Yeah.
I looked out.
28 states. What I should have done was have a map of the U.S. and every time someone comes in, from a different state, put like a little
You should do
push
that.
pin there. I should,
Yeah.
And 7 countries. I've had people who fly into Philly, take an Uber, get their hair cut, get their beard trimmed, take an Uber back to Philly, and then fly back to Los Angeles, fly back to Chicago, fly back to Toronto.
In one day.
In one day. Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
Mm-hmm. And that's the power of social media.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm
I don't do any advertising. Zip, zero, nada, nothing, none.
None.
None whatsoever.
Next year I'm trying to plan some live shows within the Philly area.
Sweet.
And I'm hoping that people come from out of state as well.
You should have a confessional con, man.
I know. I'm
Rent out a hotel room, man, and
Trust me, I'm brainstorming some ideas.
get a block of rooms. I'll challenge you with that. We'll meet sometimes, and I'll challenge you with that. You get a block of rooms, 20 rooms at a hotel, 30 rooms, 40. You get to know the manager, and you get a main meeting room, and every hour have a different expert come on. And then they go from stage to the next room over where they get interviewed, like what I do when I'm 21.
Shoot.
And you call it Confessional Con,
Oh,
or
God.
Conspiracy Con, or something like that. And you have one keynote guy, you'll bring in Alex Jones, you'll bring in, just like,
Yeah.
pick a name,
Yeah.
pick a name. You don't pay speakers anymore. The model is speakers don't get paid, but they get to promote from stage.
Mm.
So, and the bartering currency that you use is exposure.
Yes.
750,000 downloads. So your name, how much would it cost you to get your message out to 750,000 people?
Yeah.
That's worth something. So every time I speak somewhere, my social media value goes up, my stock value increases. So I can see, Conspiracy Con,
That's a great
Paranormal
idea.
Con, whatever, just pick up,
Yeah.
and then of course the merchandising, the shirts and the hats and all that kind of stuff, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can have a Netflix for conspiracy theorists, where people pay $7.99 a month for access to not just the podcast, but also the videos.
Mm.
And once a week, you have a live, for members only, Skype cast with somebody.
Yeah.
There's a whole industry you can create for yourself.
So much better.
Yeah, yeah. It's a solid beard. It's not too wedged, so it's going to grow in nice.
Yeah.
And the shaved head and the beard is just a good look, especially like when it's faded up.
Yeah.
It's just a nice look.
Yeah, it was spinning on top, so I just let it go.
What age did you do it?
I started shaving it down like this maybe in the last like 2-3 years, I think. But it was a slow progression.
Would you ever go back?
No.
I mean, it's your look now, isn't it?
It's my look now. It's my logo. I mean, the logo is my bald head and my beard.
Yeah. It's a good look.
But no, it's just the longer it gets on top, the more the thinner it is.
Yeah.
And you know, here's the thing: you can pull it off, but you have to have somebody like you take care of it. I can't just be, maybe I will actually. Now that I think about it, if I'm not a truck driver and I have more time to do stuff and take care of, but right now this is the look.
Yeah.
I tried growing it out longer a few years ago, and it just I could see my head after an inch still, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know guys that like their careers took off because they shaved their heads and just created an image for themselves. You know Jack Donovan?
Sounds familiar.
He's one of my followers, and I share a stage with him when I do conferences. Pretty jacked, but he's got the shaved head. Didn't always have the shaved head. As soon as he shaved his head, just everything changed.
Really?
Has the mustache. The chin, I'm not sure if he has a soul patch. He doesn't have a full beard, so it's mustache disconnected. It's not a goatee. It's mustache and then the chin. And it's a great look. Great look. You got to follow him on Instagram. His Instagram is Start the World.
Start the World.
And his image is just, people trip over each other to hear him speak.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to do speaking engagements down the road and stuff when the opportunity arises. I've done them before and stuff, but like you, I don't want to box myself into one topic, So I'm always looking to kind of new opportunities, new endeavors.
You got to get on top of these beards. This is what I tell everybody, and I'll tell your audience this too, is that a good barber, stylist, beardsmith gets closer to his clients than a doctor gets close to their patients. A beard and haircut is a 360-degree sculpture. It's not a one-dimensional sculpture. That's why I'm constantly hovering and orbiting, because I'm looking at the beard from this angle. I'm looking at the beard from this angle. I want to make sure it's perfect no matter which way you turn.
When you go near my phone, if you could just hit share the story. Yeah.
Boom.
Thanks, man. Instagram only gives you an hour. Or 40 minutes or whatever it is, I don't know.
I see what's happening here on YouTube. Yeah, we are still on. Absolutely. 58 minutes, man. All right, so do you want this custom blend or dog man?
Custom blend. I know the dog makes no sense. Every morning I put beard oil on, and I put a drop in my son's hand, and I show him how to rub it into it. He rubs it in his face, and I'm like,
that's awesome.
And I'm like, go smell, let mommy smell. And he lets mommy smell.
That's cool. Now, you're over in what, Pottsville or Spring City?
San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Yeah.
Is that, Is that its own exit, or is that Limerick?
Saratoga has its own exit.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm about 5 minutes off that exit.
Is that after or before Limerick?
After.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only like 20 minutes from here.
Is that considered, I guess that's considered Chester County, or is that Montgomery County?
Monaco.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
When does it become Chester County? Because I know once you hit...
Spring City's Chester County.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I know if you go a little further out, it becomes Berks.
Yes. I think Douglasville is Berks.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
So it's a funny line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in just a very small area, you can be in 3 counties.
Mm-hmm.
Berks, Montgomery, and Chester.
And Montgomery and Chester are the 2 most expensive counties to live in.
Are they?
In Pennsylvania.
Oh my lord. Wow. Chin up just a little bit, yeah?
Yeah.
Just a quick word to my peeps. I'm at Allura Salon. It's in Oaks, PA. We're about 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia. Would you say about 30 minutes, 40 minutes at the most. Phone number, 484-831-5436.
Yeah.
Or chin up a little bit. Okay. Back down. Back up again. So tell everybody how they can find you.
Well, you can go to the Confessionals, theconfessionalspodcast.com. You can email me, theconfessionalspodcast@gmail.com. You can look up the show on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We do have a YouTube channel that I upload the show's audio on video when I have a chance, but it's, hit and miss time-wise.
The Confessionals Podcast.
Yep.
Okay.
It's an entertaining show. People will enjoy it if they enjoy those kind of topics. Or just thinking about what the possibilities are of such things happening. It also feels good when you wake up as early as I've been waking up, because you're doing something most of the world isn't doing.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Close your eyes a second. Yep.
Like it's 10 o'clock right now, and I've been up for half a day already.
Yeah. Exactly. One thing I noticed over the years in the hair industry, when I shave the heads of black guys, they want their heads shinier.
Okay.
White guys don't look good with a shiny head. They look better with a more muted, kind of matte finish.
Yeah.
The black guys will always say, do you have any oil? And, I'll put some oil on their head and then wipe it off with a towel and leaves a little bit of a sheen. And it's just something that I've seen.
Yeah.
White guys look better with a matte finish, black guys look better with a shiny head.
One thing I tell the guys at work, because I work with a lot of black guys at work, and I used to live with a lot of black guys in college, and one thing I learned living with them is they oil their skin and take care of their skin way better than white people. It's because they're darker, so when you have dry skin, which everybody gets the dry skin,
it shows more. Yeah.
And so they oil their skin more, and I think that they pays dividends when they turn at 60 and their face looks like it's 40.
Absolute fact.
like black guys age really well, and I think it's
Yeah.
because they really take care of their skin.
That is a fact. Well, I just, like, sometimes I'll see like an old black guy somewhere, we strike it off well, you know, start chatting, you know, I was like, how old are you? And you can see his face light up, 72. And I'm like, dang, dude, you look good for 72.
I'm coming to you every day so you can do my beard.
Frank Sinatra traveled with his barber. He always had a
Really?
hotel room next to him, yeah. And every day, straight razor shave, a little bit of a haircut. So when you get famous, you know.
I'm getting to the point where I go into a delivery and people recognize me from the show, which is kind of crazy.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's a place
that's awesome.
in Royersford that happened. These two guys that listen to my show, and they come over and they shake my hand like, it's an honor to meet you. I'm like, whoa. And then like a week later, a guy posted on his Twitter page how he didn't introduce himself to me because he was too starstruck. When I walked in, I was like, just the trucker guys of the podcast.
It's a trip. Chin up. Oh yeah, I've gotten to the point, well, especially when I had the big beard. No matter where I went, people recognized
Yeah,
me.
it stands out.
And yeah.
Are you going big again?
Nah. Just keeping it at this length.
Yeah.
It's manageable. And I don't have to think about it.
Sure.
I'm just when it was longer, people think, well, it's just no muss, no fuss, you know, easy care. Actually, when it was huge, I was just constantly conditioning it, oiling it, balming it. Because
Yeah.
I grew a beard because I don't want to shave, and I want my life to be easier and
Harder.
not hard. I want to spend less time in front of the mirror, not more.
Yeah.
You know. And there's a threshold. There's a threshold of beard length where you end up spending more time in front of the mirror, and I reached that earlier this week and trimmed it back to what I have now, which is my perfect length for what I want. All right, your thoughts?
I mean, it makes me not want to grow my beard out. Like, I'm just like, I'm going to keep this length. Holy crap, man.
Let's show the audience here. Put this up behind you. There we go. Perfect. All right.
Man.
Tony Merkel, the Confessionals podcast.com.
Absolutely.
If you have a story of the paranormal, of the weird, of spiritual, of UFOs, Bigfoot,
Anything fringe.
Cthulhu,
Yeah.
anything, bring it on. The Confessionals podcast at gmail.com.
Yep. Yep.
Absolutely. Or reach out to me and I will introduce you to Tony.
And don't worry about, oh, I don't know how to talk to people. Listen, I'm the easiest guy to talk to. I'm a conversationalist. I can talk to anybody. You don't got to worry about that. I talk to people. That's what I do. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you do it well.
Thanks,
All right. To your satisfaction, sir?
100%.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
Now it's family picture time. I actually had an interview canceled